Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Enough channel. In this video we're going to preview round 25 of the 2024 2025 NRL Supercoach season. I was looking at the week 24 there, it threw me off. So I guess before we get into it, you can see that there is a new Supercoach game to go with all the other new Supercoach games that we've got this time of year. And that is the finals for both NRL and AFL. So we won't worry about that just now. We've still got a few weeks left of the season, but definitely something we'll look at getting around. So look out for league codes, things like that, if we need to set those up for the finals. But as per usual with our video, we will look at not the rankings, but rather the players and the most popular trade-ins, trade-outs, as well as captaincy options. So the top two on the list this week, Ruben Garrick and Cam McInnes. This is the trade-out list. Both out with injury. Won't be back before finals time. So both trade-outs. The next three are all on bye this week. Nicho Hynes, Fanua Blake and Brayley. So I suppose if you've been a head-to-head focused player for the year, you may well have the trades to move these guys in and out. But I mean, if you're trying to do your best overall and you haven't got a lot of trades, I mean, truth be told, most of us that are playing overall have got no trades. So it probably is mostly head-to-head guys, in which case it does make sense. They're not playing this week. They won't help you get to your Supercoach Grand Finals. Number 6, Dane Gagai. So has moved back to the centres. On top of that, Newcastle just aren't looking great at the moment. So we bought him in as one of our final trades, and it probably has been a bit of a bust. So again, if you need to make the move to win your preliminary final, makes sense. Herbie Farnworth, yep, he's a trade out. Don't know why you've held him this long. Ryan Pappenhausen, mail is he is back in this week. So I guess it depends. Obviously, if you want a higher upside fullback for the GF, preliminary final Supercoach this week, yeah, makes sense. You've got Teddy, Drinkwater, win all right last week. Whether he can replicate that this week remains to be seen. Dylan Edwards does have a tough matchup as well, but could be a good shout. So, yeah, probably not the biggest trade out, but I can understand it. Connor Watson, so, they're doing this late shift where he goes and starts on the bench, doesn't play 80 minutes. So I think, yep, if you've got the luxury of trades, you could absolutely upgrade him. And Tom Trbojevic, so a pretty interesting one. He is still playing fullback. I guess Manly weren't great last week, which may sort of factor in people's decision. But neither were the Dolphins defensively. So he's probably one I would suggest holding. On the trade-ins this week, so Adam Dewey, in good form, steering this ship there at the Tigers. They've got the Cowboys this week, who aren't the strongest defensive team. So, Tigers could ride that wave of form, and Dewey could be a good shout this week. Harry Grant, obviously a great option for a McInnes, a Watson, Brayley, for those that are trading him on the buy. So I think he makes sense to bring in. Taylor May is an interesting one. So he's very hot and cold, and that sort of has been the case of, popular trade in, then popular trade out. Now he's a popular trade in. So at that mid price, if that's all you've got in the bank, have a swing for the fence. But yeah, I'd be looking for a more proven keeper. Reece Walsh, obviously doing a lot of good things with the Broncos' couple of key injuries. So I think, yeah, the point of difference, the Newcastle Knights this week is a great matchup. So, yeah, Reece Walsh could be the one that helps you win your head-to-head this week. Sammy Walker, talk about players in form. He and the Roosters are killing it since Walker's come back. So, yep, nice one to bring in this week, particularly if you've got the trade to swing out Nico Hines. Hayden Buchanan's on the bubble this week. Haven't watched him too closely, but a 75 and a 41 up against South this week, which isn't the toughest matchup. So, if it does help you upgrade somewhere else, why not? Zach Lomax. So obviously a tough one against the Roosters this week, but with Daniel Tupou out, he could be up against Junior Tupou on that wing. So there might be an avenue for him to get a couple of tries. So I do like him as an upside shout this week. Nafahu White was amazing last week. Hopefully he can maintain the rage for the last few weeks. So I think he is a viable trading option. Xavier Coates. So I guess everyone saw what Tupou did to Nali Tuala last week, and it is a scary proposition. So yeah, I think if you've got an extra 100k or 80k even with Taylor May, I'd be going for Coates instead. And Scotty Drinkwater, maybe a few people chasing last week's points, but I mean, yeah, like I said, if you're Pappenhausen, it's probably a better matchup against the Tigers than the Dogs. But I actually like Reece Walsh over Drinkwater. Obviously, if you haven't got the extra 100k, Drinkwater might be where it's at. So, in terms of the captaincy this week, top 10%. So, the most popular captain is James Tedesco up against Parramatta. So, yeah, hadn't really factored him in too much, but I mean, the Roosters are in great form. Teddy's pretty matchup proof, averaging 87 for the season. So, it probably is that base with potential for upside pick that makes sense at this time of year. Number two, Scott Drinkwater. So I suppose if you do have him, which 82% of the top 10% do have him, he plays in that last game of the round. It's always the easiest one to captain. He is averaging 81 for the season, so similar to Teddy, but probably a bit more variance in his scoring. Nathan Cleary at number three, so a very popular VC option as well. Um, I mean, another one averaging 80 for the year. Um, the Raiders are a tough matchup, but, Cleary, again, pretty matchup proof. So, yeah, worth a shout. I've got him as VC at the moment. Reece Walsh, so funnily enough, only 15.7% of the top 10% have him. However, out of those, over half of them are captaining him. So if you do have Reece Walsh, if he was the same ownership as everyone else, he would be the most popular captaincy option. I think that's a fair shout too, given the matchup, given his upside. Happy days. Payne Haas at number five, so I guess you don't really get the upside from Haas, although he can score a try, averaging 86, so real solid base. Safe captaincy option, which is where I've currently gone at the moment. Terrell May, again, safe captaincy option in the last game of the round, so it makes sense. Zach Lomax, as I said, I do like him as a sneaky point of difference captain this week. So, could be a good shout. Jaden Campbell, so, pretty decent sort of floor. Average isn't as great as the other options, but, they are home to the Warriors, so there is a chance there. Tom Trbojevic at number 9, so, definitely a flyer captaincy option. Nico Hines on the buy, so disregard those. Just haven't been updated yet. But Adam Dewey would be number 10. And again, last game of the round, has been scoring well. Ignore the season average. Definitely one for the braver among us. So, in terms of my team this week, so not really thinking too much in the way of playing changes. Benching Gagai with his dip in form. KO Weeks probably was a bust as a pick as well, so we'll cop that. Connor Watson's not getting the minutes, so he's out. We're bringing in Donahue off the bench. We do have Tino sitting on the bench, which isn't ideal, but I guess we're looking at some more potential upside type picks. So speaking of which, in terms of the captaincy conversation, I'm happy with Cleary as VC. I think it could be as good as the Raiders are. It could be one where Penrith, if they get the jump on them, Cleary could be a big part of that. But I'm thinking captaincy, chasing a little bit more upside. Like Payne Haas is a nice, safe option. Wouldn't begrudge anyone just locking that in. But looking at what everyone else is thinking, I'm tossing up between Tedesco or a Zach Lomax. So I just got to have a look at who Lomax played last week. I'm not interested. So I was interested in that and I closed it. So Zach Lomax, so he did score massive, but it was against Souths. So he would have been up against their left winger, so maybe Tyrone Munro. Kalamatangi's back for South. I'm thinking the wrong team. Why am I even worried about South? So talking about Lomax. Yeah, Moses plays on that edge, feeding him. Oh look, who have I actually got? Have I actually got any matchups this week? Might be matchup dependent. So it looks like the only one I've got in the Supercoach leagues is Nacho. Let's have a look. Who's he got? He's got Tedesco. He's got Drinkwater, so I might need to cover an upside type pick. Just one more thing. How am I? So we're within reach of the top 20k. So is it worth an upside pick to try and break through? Let's do it. Fortune favours the brave, they say. So we'll captain Lomax this week. See if it pays off. But yeah, it might not even matter if Cleary goes big. We'll obviously grab that. But I think we can wrap the video up there. So as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the Supercoach NRL content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.